Hello, Salemites. Welcome to today's Daily Dose TV. I'm here covering updates, spoilers, and what's popping in Salem for the week of Monday, July the 10th to Friday the 14th, which is today. Okay, so Stephanie and Chad, they find them an apartment that they like. Oh, Brady, he's always asleep on the job. They've already decided to take the apartment and knock knock. Who is it? Brady. What's he doing there? Looking for an apartment for him and Rachel. I'm struggling to like Brady anymore. He's such a dud. I'm just getting sick of him. All moping around. He's too slow to get in on a good apartment. What's wrong with his ass? Okay, so Chloe gets some kind of major sponsor for the Spectator. And Xander is overly happy because I think the paper is having a few money problems. So Xander is so excited about that he thinks him and Chloe should celebrate. That's right. And how does he think they should celebrate? By going downtown. Downtown, right in their office? Yes, right in their office. And what's downtown? It's consenting adults, if you must know. So they decide to go downtown, right there in the office, like a couple of horn dogs that they are. And Gwenny walks in. So she expresses to them how she's not jealous, she's not bothered, she don't give a rat's butt, because she's engaged, and she whips out her hand with a ice skating rink on her ring finger, because she just decided recently to accept Dimitri's proposal for marriage. So she's all excited about that. Xander's just looking at her. The way all these people think they have some say in somebody else's lives. Like Leo going around, well, I'm going to find out what's wrong with Demitri. Mind your own beeswax. Oh, you're going to find out. And you're going to like it. So, Gwen's not bothered by that, she says. She's got her very own Prince Charming. Meanwhile, Leo, he decides to go back to the mansion to find evidence that Demitri is a slimeball. Or using Gwen of some sorts, which he is. So he goes back and he's trying to break in that stupid little desk that has been there in the DeMera living room, great room where they drink, room where Noni's picture is over the fireplace, whatever they call that room, that one stupid little desk has been there as long as I can remember. And I call it a stupid little desk because everything else in that room is so grand and so big. And then you got a little puny desk with some little skinny legs over there. It's just not what you expect to see in a demerit living room. That's all I'm saying. So he's over there. He's either got a screwdriver or more than likely a letter opener. He's over there trying to pry that drawer open. What's in this drawer? Well, I'm sure everyone in the DeMera family keeps their most important papers right there in that drawer. In the big room where anyone could, pop a lock and, get in there. So, Kristen comes in and she's like, what are you doing? She threatens to call the police. But yeah, I remember now. But Leo talks with her about what he is doing and that he believes Dimitri's going to hurt Gwen. He's like, come on, Kristen. Gwen's your friend. Has Demitri mentioned anything to you about anything involving Gwen that might hurt her? And Kristen's thinking back, and he had a specific conversation with Kristen about how would she be offended or mad at him if he did this to Gwen so he could collect his money, and she didn't have any problems with it. So she doesn't have a problem with it now, so she doesn't tell him. That's about all I see of their conversation. Well, I don't know where Kristen went, but Leo went up to Dimitri's room and decided to go through his office stuff, which it looks like he has no stuff. So But he did find the codicil to the will and was reading it, and he's like, "Oh, I gotcha." And then Demitri, you hear something rustling around, and he comes in the door. He's like, "What are you doing here, Leo?" And Leo's like, "I got you now. Just like I thought, you're gonna use my Gwenny," or whatever his words were. And they had a few words, and Demitri is trying to talk him out of it. And he tries to take it from Leo. And Leo is just like, "Oh, no, you don't. I've got this now, and I'm on my way to talk to Gwenny." The first thing that's going through my mind, the second thing that's going through my mind, the first thing is, I'm thinking, but you just knocked the crap out of him. You're bigger than Leo. Just give him a slap and take that paper. But the most important thing I was thinking is, let's see, Leo broke in your room, actually illegally entered your home, and started going through stuff. And he's illegally trying to take a legal document out of your home. So you're standing there saying, "Give me that." And he's like, "Oh, no, you can't have this." You can have it because it's yours. And Leo is there illegally. You could call 911 and have him arrested for breaking and entering, for stealing. But either way, he's going to tell Gwen about it. So it looks like Demitri is going to choke Leo. And, I like Leo's character, but I got to tell you, I was rooting for Demitri just to squeeze the life out of him. It's just, him and Xander and Gwen. I really like Leo's character just because he's funny at times. But really, all three of them, they're just gutter scuzz, They've done nothing. They go behind everybody's back, and they think the world owes them. And people like that piss me off. So, there you have it. There's these three. So, all of a sudden, he grabs him, and I think, yeah, going to just choke him. And, but of course I didn't think he would kill him. Just make him pass out, throw him on the floor. So, be creative. He goes to grab him, and what does he do? He kisses him. So he's having a fit, and he's like, you're not going to just seduce me to get me to get, not tell Gwen or whatever. And then is when he tells him that he was never into Gwen. He's not trying to use Gwen. He doesn't want to hurt Gwen. He likes Gwen, but he's gay. Say what? I said it. He's gay. He's not attracted to Gwen at all. He's doing this for the money. So then Leo's listening to him a little bit, and he's like, what? So he keeps on forcing himself on Leo. He's like, I've been attracted to you. I can't keep my hands off you. You're so hot and all this stuff. And Leo's just, oh my God, what do I do? And they end up going downtown. Yes, they did. Downtown, that's where consenting adults go. Yeah, they went there. But before they went there, who saw them kiss? Who was walking by their door and just peeped through the little crack there? Well, it was about that big a crack. Rachel. What's Rachel doing there? Because she ran away. She ran away from her summer camp she was at, come down through the tunnels and up to be with her mama, Kristen. So Kristen is hiding her out. She did try to take her back to the camp, but she said, no, Mommy, please, can't I stay here with you? Isn't there any way I can just stay here? So, I'm with Kristen. I would have kept my child. So, she kept her, and she's hiding her up in the attic where she's got on some little dog uniform outfit. It's a costume, like a Halloween costume, but it's got the head. And apparently the police did come in and search the mansion because Brady, once he got notified that Rachel was missing, he knew that she was at Kristen's. And Kristen was saying she hadn't saw her. She hasn't seen her. So the cops went and did raid the mansion. Of course, we don't get to see that. And apparently Rachel just laid there in a bunch of other stuffed animals, and she blended right in with the stuffed animals. They didn't think anything about it. It's pretty smart. as long as she was very still and didn't move, breathe, sneeze, cough, any of that. So, she's hiding out there, but she's seen Demitri and Leo kissing. Then we move on to, I've got something here, what is it? Okay, so Alex moves out of Victor's house. And Maggie didn't know he was moving, but she sees him moving. He's taking his stuff out, and he tells her he's moving out. So she doesn't understand, why he's moving, what's going on. And he told her, things are not good between us, and I don't feel like I should be living here. And she was trying to tell him, tell him that he was welcome to stay there and all this, but, she done underhanded him too many damn times. And I don't blame him. She's been a witch in a basket to him. She just really got a head full of nonsense and got all control freaky and stuff. So, Alex is moving out. She doesn't like it. Of course, Xander already turned down that job. She offered it to Xander as well. And she ended up offering it to Chad. And Chad did come to visit her on the same day and told her, he's going to accept the job. So hopefully she won't put too much pressure on Chad and trip him out to where he doesn't want to work with her either. But, he's just concerned that Victor isn't going to like a DiMera running his company. But Maggie insists, Victor's not in charge, I am. That's a fine thing for you to say there, Miss Maggie. Of course, we all know Victor died months ago. In real life. John Aniston, may he rest in peace. So I have a feeling pretty soon they'll be acknowledging his death somehow. On Tuesday, Wendy visits Li Shin in jail while he's being held. And she just talks down to him like a dog and kind of walks out on him. She wanted to confront him about all of his evilness, and he was telling her, I didn't do this. I didn't brainwash Harris to murder Stefan. Now, he's telling the truth. He did not. Rolf brainwashed Stefan, and Rolf and Megan gave him his orders. I don't think Li Shin gave him any kind of orders, but Li Shin was part of it. He was right on board. He knew they were going to murder Stefan. He was A-okay with it and wanted to do anything he could to help out. So he's the one that notified Rolf, brought him back to Salem, and got him set up. So his hands aren't clean, even though he's not the one that did the actual frying. So, Marlena is seeing Harris in the hospital, and she unfries him, to where he's back to normal. And she tells him, you're free. If they don't want to, they shouldn't hold this against you, you holding that gun on everybody and shooting Megan because, you were under the influence. You'd been programmed. So he insists that he does tell Marlena that it wasn't Li Shin, it was Rolf and Megan. So Marlena does confirm that to Rafe, I think, and they end up, Jada goes in and tells, somebody goes in and tells Li Shin, and he gets to walk again for now. But Jada tells him, she's got her on him. Trask is at the station doing something, and she's talking to Sean, and she smells liquor on him. And he's like, no, of course I'm not drinking off the job. Well, she finds a liquor bottle. I don't know if it was in the garbage, sitting on the desk. She's like, is this yours? And he said, of course it's not mine. And she's like, okay, so if I send this to the lab and do a DNA test, it's not going to come back as yours? And he said, no. Go on and waste taxpayers' money or whatever. So she took it and she was going to do it. And then he said, no, stop. Okay, it's mine. And she has a long talk with him about drinking on the job and all this crap. So when Rafe comes back in, she orders Rafe to fire him. And for drinking on the job. So, Sean has had a drinking problem ever since he put his dad back in a coma. So, Belle's tried to help him. She's tried to get him to see Marlena. Other people have talked to him. So, Jada leaves. Trask leaves because Rafe's like, I can handle this. You can get out. And he told Sean, I'm going to have your badge and your gun. And he's like, all right. He said, it's not like he started bickering with Rafe. He said, it's not like you've ever broke a rule, huh, Rafe? And Rafe says, I don't break rules. And he said, yeah, like the affair you're having with one of your co-workers. And then he told him he knew, he witnessed for himself, him and Jada, and he already talked to Jada about it, and I guess she admitted it. I don't know. Anyway, he said, I'm just saying we might want to work something out. You don't fire me for drinking on the job, and I don't tell anybody you're having sex with someone who works under you. And just at that time, the new mayor, taking over for Abe, walked in, and he's a real prick, I'm going to tell you. He's going after everybody. And he walked in, and he said, what's that I overheard? And he overheard it, so he asked for Rafe's badge. So now Rafe is suspended. Sean is suspended. Rafe got straight up fired, I think. Sean got suspended because a little prick-ass Sean, I don't like him. I don't care that he's Bo and Hope's son. They're not even on the show, man. I don't know why they brought them in for a couple of minutes. I guess try to get ratings, get people over at Peacock. I don't know. But everybody was pretty pissed about it. Mainly the fans. So that all happened, and let's see. Yep, on the breath. Yeah, she orders Rafe to fire Sean for drinking on the job. Now we move on to Wednesday. There were several days that I didn't even write any notes on because it was some boring stuff. Now I know that all the writers are on strike, but Days of Our Lives films like 6 months in advance, so they should still be covered. This should still be the good writers. I don't know what's happened. We've had some crap stuff lately. So on Wednesday, I already said that Sean tried to blackmail Rafe because of, info about him and Jada. That new mayor also visited Chanel when she was coming out of the bakery. She had a bunch of free samples, and he walked up and he said, oh, free, or they don't have drugs in them, do they? And she said, of course not. And he introduced himself, and she's like, oh. And he said, yeah, if it was up to me, you wouldn't even be open. And I'm tired of everything you and your mother are. You just brought nothing but trouble to this town, and I'm going to be cracking down on everybody. He's just a dick. So, anyway. Mayor, yeah. Okay, so they go on into Wednesday with the new mayor overhearing Rafe and Sean talking. Like I said, Tuesday was a snoozer. And, yeah. Okay, so what else happens Wednesday? Okay. So since Sean got put on suspension, he did go to Marlena and tell her he needed some help. So that's good news, I guess. The other thing that happened on Wednesday was when she was fighting, when Wendy was fighting with Li Shin, he was telling her, all you're doing is stringing two boys around because you can't make up your mind. He was saying some offensive things to her because of that. And she said, well, you're right, and I'm going to have to fix that. So she goes home, and Johnny is over there waiting for her, and of course Tripp's already there. And she comes in and is talking to both of them, and she told them, I know it hasn't been fair to you all. It's not fair to me. I'm going to have to go on and make a decision. And there is one that I'm having a little bit deeper feelings for than the other. So they're both standing there, and then she asked Tripp, can you leave me and Johnny alone for a few minutes? And he said, sure. And he went over to talk to Patch. So I already knew that this meant she was going to let Johnny go. But for some reason, Tripp meant that meant that she was going to let Tripp go. But his dad, Patch, was telling him, you left him over there alone, you need to get back over there. And that is where he got back over there. So, she tells Johnny he's a great guy and it's nothing against him, but she does have, feelings for Tripp and blah, blah, blah. And after she said what she said, it seems like Johnny said a couple things and he just turned around and walked out. And then when Tripp came in, of course, he was happy to know that she picked him. I'm glad she picked Tripp, too, because I don't like her with Johnny. I don't like Wendy at all, and I don't like Tripp. And I hope them picking each other means they're both going off the show. They're just boring. Oh, my God, their characters are so boring to me. I just can't stay awake to watch it, boring ass. Anyway, Johnny goes and sits down in the square, and Chanel sees him, and she walks over, and I'm sure she, tried to comfort him, but she's already dealing with her getting ready for Abe's funeral. Lani's in town, she got released for his funeral, and nobody's believing the sequence of events that took Abe out. This story about Abe is stupid, I can tell you. And I can tell you that I monitor, I guess. I really don't interact with people, but I'm a member of all kinds of Days of Our Lives groups on Facebook, different places. And people are so angry about this whole Abe storyline. Nobody likes it. They all think it's stupid. It's wasting time. I think they've got a reasonable complaint there because it is stupid. So, anyway, what was I talking about? Okay, so, Tripp and Wendy will be together, and let's hope we don't see them anymore. Jada and Ray. Sean has to see Marlena. Yeah, I got Rafus fired. He's fired on Wednesday. Thursday, Rachel is still missing. Some people are worrying about her, but not really because they know Kristen's got her. John keeps having dreams about Abe, and Abe has figured out that Whitley is not Paulina, and she keeps drugging him. Right now, she is planning to get out of town. And she's already paid off fake Leo for him to get out of town. And, John and Patch keep talking about, their dreams and just different things. Even Lani, they think things are just so strange. Nobody can figure any of that out. Marlena decides, or they ask Marlena Brady asks Marlena. No, Marlena offers to go try to talk to Kristen about Rachel. She does go talk to Kristen about Rachel. And we finished that up on Friday. We're still on Thursday. Lani ends up visiting fake Theo because of something strange that she noticed. And, oh, that's on Friday. Whitley and Patch talk at the hospital. Because Whitley goes to the hospital, she wants to turn in her resignation to Kayla, get whatever things she needs to get, and get the hell out of town. Well, she runs into Patch there. She overhears him saying he wants to talk to Nurse Kane. And when he gets off the phone, she said, "Who are you and why do you want to talk to me?" And he ended up telling her, he had some questions for her. She was shocked to find out that the FBI had done a background check on her ass. She's like, why me? And he said, well, it's nothing personal on you, just anybody that had anything to do with the last day of Abe, being here in the hospital. And you were the last person to see him. Well, she ends up throwing little fake Theo under the bus after she feels the pressure from Patch. And she said, I think it was Jerry. Jerry, what's his name? Prance or Jerry. Was his name Jerry? Fake Theo? I can't remember. Anyway, she tells him, Patch, that she remembers seeing him standing out Abe's door on the day Abe went missing there at the hospital. He was just kind of lingering around, and Patch was like, why didn't you tell anybody? And she said, I didn't think anything about it until I just read in the paper that he was the one that witnessed Abe going off the pier. And she said, and I thought that might be connected. And Patch is like, oh yeah, I gotta go call somebody. So she's sitting there and she's like, oh, I'm sorry that I have to throw you into the bus. She's talking to herself about fake Theo. She said, hopefully you're out of town by now. He's not out of town because Lani done caught him and he was packing his stuff and already had everything in suitcases. And she kept asking him some roundabout questions. And he finally snaps. Okay. So, Friday, we continue with Patch questioning Whitley. And she tells him she's moving to Arizona because she's got family there. And he said, yeah, I guess so. 5 kids. And she's like, how do you know that? And that's when he told her the FBI did a check on you. Kristen tells Marlena, because Marlena's visiting her, that hypothetically, if she knew where Rachel was and she was going to offer her up, she would need something in return. Of course, Kristen. So what she wants is the joint custody, I guess. And she's like, Brady doesn't want to share her. I've got to have time with my daughter. And obviously, Rachel's wanting this time with her mother. She keeps running away from home, leaving school, taking buses to the prison when she was in jail to visit her. She misses her mama, so Brady needs to get off his high horse. So she tells Marlena that she might be inclined to tell someone where Rachel was if Brady would reconsider that custody agreement. So Marlena said she would talk to Belle and Brady and she would come back. And she said, well, if he could work something out like that, she might be able to locate Rachel. And that's because she's hiding her. Okay. Jerry. He cracks and tells Lani that he lied to her about everything. And he tells her that Abe is still alive. And Lani, He's telling Lani how sorry he is, and she tears out of that room, wherever he is. He tries to leave, but Patch is knocking on his door. And that's like, close to the end of the show on Friday. And, so Patch is going to Jerry's place because Nurse Kane, Whitley Kane, has already ratted him out and thrown him under the bus. But he ends up telling Lani that her dad is alive. So when it goes off today, you see Lani knocking on the door where Abe is. He's sitting there on the couch. He can hear her, but he's all drugged and out of it. And she kicked the door in. She said, Daddy, or Dad, or she said something Dad affiliated. And he was just sitting there. He was pitiful. It just made me want to slap her silly at Nurse. And that's how it went off Friday. And I've probably overlooked some stuff because I didn't write a lot of stuff down when they had a lot of those days, like the days of when Abe, his funeral and all this stuff, and everybody visiting and all this. I couldn't do it. So, anyway, that's everything that happened from the 10th through the 14th. And that's what's popping in days. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. We've almost reached the quota where I'm going to start giving away the Rokus. Hopefully to people, and I'm not talking about a television, I'm talking about the Roku setup that you just hook into a USB on any TV, really, that has that hookup. So that's another thing. But I'd like to see people get them that, can't afford a smart TV or whatever. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend. Remember to be kind to everyone. And I will see you in Salem on Monday. All right. Goodbye, everybody.